6. The greater warfare, spiritual in parentheses. And of course, jihad doesn't quite translate as warfare. I'm not sure the Farsi term used, but we'll go on. Great princes, all. We've killed our dread external foe. Within us still a worse than he remains, I trow. To slay this inner foe is not the task of mind. Our moral lions, not destroyed by tricks refined. Our flesh a hell, that hell a fiery dragon is. Whole oceans can't extinguish those fierce flames of his. Earth's 7 oceans all were lost within his maw. His raging fires would still burn high to mankind's awe. Pit coal, hard-hearted miscreants, these are its food. They sink within it, miserable, abject brood. With all its craving, hunger and error would be appeased, until the voice of God cry unto it, art eased? Eased? Will it answer? No, not yet, a while by far. Behold my flame, my fury, burning, fiery roar. It swallows down a universe in its fell mood, and instantly shrieks out, more food, more food, more food. God from ubiquity, his foot will stamp on hell. Then will it cease to burn, ye willed, and it befell. Our fleshly lusts in us are but a part of hell. Parts have the qualities of their universal. The foot of God alone can stamp out hell's alarms. Who else but God supreme to bend such bow has arms? Straight arrows serve alone to be shot from a bow. But lust's distorted spring shoots crooked arrows too. Be thou in mind upright as arrow straight for bow. A bow will not shoot straight unless the arrows so. We fought our fight and conquered in our outward strife. Now turn we our attention to the inner life. We've done with outer warfare, lesser as it is, and as the prophet waged the warfare, greater is. We put our trust in God, from him we ask for aid. With his assistance fate can move a mountain stayed. To rout an armed foe is nothing very fresh. A lion true is he who conquers his own flesh. To illustrate this truth, give ear unto a tale, that thou of these few words the moral mayest inhale. From Caesar and ambassador to Cain, through deserts far extending from Medina's fame, he asked, where is the palace of the Caliph men, that I to it may lead my cavalcade, my train? The people answered, thou no Caliph's place find. Our Caliph's soul pavilions his enlightened mind. Through his commandership, his fame to Rome has come. But like our other poor, a hut's his ample home. How shouldst thou see that palace, brother stranger guest, when in thy mind's eye thou a beam hast unconfessed? Cast out that beam, make clear thy eye from every mote. Then mayest thou entertain the hope to see its coat. Whoever shall his heart cleanse from all passion's veil, will soon perceive therein a court and presence hail. When Ahmed's heart was cleansed of evil's fire and smoke, whichever way he turned, God's countenance bespoke. So long as man keeps company with evil thought, how can he understand God's countenance? in aught. He that a window's pierced from fart towards heaven's recess sees in each mote a ray from sun of righteousness. God shines apparent in the midst of other things, as moon in majesty among the stars, twinklings. Place thou 2 fingertips upon thy 2 eyeballs. What seest thou now? Of all the world darkness befalls. Seest it not, but that the world exists, thou trust? Our vices are the fingertips of fleshly lust. Thy fingertips remove, instanter as before, thou lookest around and seest whatever thou wilt explore. His people asked of Noah where righteousness might be. He said, lo, there with muffled heads you cannot see. You've wrapped your cloaks and folds about your heads and eyes. Your sense of sight cannot see what before you lies. The world's eye, man, is all the rest mere skin and shell. A real eye is he who strives his friend to see right well. Unless we see our friend, 'twere better we were blind. A friend that is not constant's better out of mind. When Rome's ambassador had heard those words so wise, his eager curiosity began to rise. He sought for Umar with redoubled zeal and zest, but in so doing lost his horse and his chest. He wandered everywhere to seek the Caliph out, like one distracted, asked each passer-by his route. Is it possible, he said, that such a man there be, when like the soul to sight invisible is he? He sought for him as though he'd been his truant slave. But he who seeks shall find, a very well-known stave. A desert Arab woman saw he at the last, who told him Umar then beneath date palm slept fast. Beneath a date palm, far from mankind's busy clod, that date palm's shadow shaded the shadow of God. He went towards the tree a station took afar. He saw Umar, a fit trembling showed his fear. On that ambassador did awe and dread alight, while o'er his heart there stole a sense of sweet delight. 2 feelings, love and dread, by nature opposites, were mingled in his bosom by some occult rites. He thought within himself, I've many princes seen, in sovereign presence I have ever welcome been. This fit of awe and trembling's very strange to me, and yet without dismay this man I cannot see. I've been in forests where the lions make their lair. I've met them face to face, yet knew not what was fear. In battle I've been oft, in thickest of the fight. My arms upheld our cause, when in most desperate plight. Wounds have I dealt, received that threatened life to take. Among the brave, the bravest, my heart knew no quake. This man is weaponless, supine upon the ground. Why then this tremor? It my every limb has bound. A ghostly awe is this. It's not a mortal fear. Most certainly, it's not the dread of this man here. He who fears God has admonition of the Lord. Both men and demons stand in awe of his mere word. Mute he remained, in reverential attitude, till Umar woke from his trance of beatitude. Profound obeisance and grave salutation made, as said the prophet, first salute, then emphasade. The Caliph answered, and on thee be peace, draw near. Assured him of protection, bade him put off fear. Fear not, a word of comfort is to trembling soul. A generous tribute 'tis, when strong with weak condole. Men set at ease the object whom they wish to raise. Relieve his heart from palpitation, bid fears cease. But unto one who feels no dread, how say fear not? What lesson's this thou givest to one whose lesson's got? So Umar put at ease that much perturbed man, and calmed his wavering mind, as noble hearts best can. To him he then addressed some subtle words of sense, set forth the attributes of God, man's best defense, declared the goodness of the Lord to all who trust. In him alone thy rank they gain, in trance combust. Saints' ecstasy springs from a glimpse of God his pride. His station's that of intimate. He's bridegroom, God is bride. A bride's veiled graces are not seen by groom alone. Her unveiled charms solely to him in private shown. In state she first appears before the people all. Her veil removed, the groom alone is at her call. Entranced are many Gnostic worshippers, I ween. Few gain admission to the presence chamber seen. Umar told all the stations passed through by his soul, its flights, fights, tribulations, ere it was made whole. He spoke of times when flight of times of no account, of holiness his station, glorious to recount. He talked of atmospheres in which his righteous soul had soared to seek fresh conquests of devotion's whole. Its every flight had been beyond the horizon scant, beyond the hope, ardent desire of aspirant. He found a willing listener in the stranger guest, whose mind was framed to investigate such mysteries blessed. The teacher was perfection, novice full of zeal, like clever jockey on a steed with lightning heel. He found his scholar apt of great capacity, so good seed sowed in fertile soil, sagacity. Then Baster now asked, of true believers, Prince, how can a soul from heaven come down to earth's providence? How can so great a bird be cooped within a cage? He answered, God speaks words of power, most sage. Those words addressed to nothings, without ears or eyes, set them in motion, like a firmament, fruit it bears. Those words no sooner spoken, quick those nothings all, in motion put themselves, and reach existence's hall. Or he commands these beings, creatures of his own, and they return to nothing, whence he them had drawn. He speaks unto the flowers, they forthwith burst in bloom. His voice the flint hears, lo, it's a carnelian stone. A spell he laid on matter, spirit it became. By charms from him the sun sprang forth, a lambent flame. If he but whisper words of awe, the sun again is seized with darkness of eclipse, like night amain. What is it, he says, by which the teeming eye of cloud sheds forth its tears as drops from water skin unsued? What incantation to the earth addresses he to make it produce cattle, whose hides used may be? The hesitations of each puzzled child of thought arise from some enigma by which God's him caught. On horns of a dilemma is he fixed, poor man. Shall I do this, says he, when opposite I can? From God, too, is the power to make selection's choice. Of two solutions, one is taken through inward voice, but thou be always free from hesitation full. Stuff not thy mind's ear tight with doubts, dull cotton wool, that thou mayest solve the riddles God may set for thee, that thou mayest understand the full mercy free. Then shall thy heart receive his inspiration's gift, a power of speaking from an inward impulses drift. The ear and eye of soul are organs not of sense. The ears of sense and mind are not like soul's intents. The word compulsion puts me out of humor quite. Who hath not love of God, compulsion's slave by right. This union's based on truth. Compulsion is too proud. It is a glimpse of sunshine, breaking through a cloud. Be it compulsion, man's compulsion, it is not. Not the compulsion of browbeating from a sot. Compulsions felt by them, my very worthy friend, whose eyes of faith open in their hearts, on God attend. The absent and the future patent are to them. To speak about the past is what they most condemn. Election and compulsion, theirs are not the same as dewdrops in the oyster shell, where pearls became. Outside the dewdrops solely, whether great or small. Inside the pearls a price, whose value knows no fall. Such men by nature are just like the muskdeer's pod. It's fed with blood of artery, musk it yields through God. X not how 'tis that outward blood can change like this, becoming musk when in the pod secreted 'tis. X not how copper bile by wise alchemist art is changed to gold when solved by elixir in part. Election and compulsion fancies both in thee, but when by saints they're viewed, God's glory may they be. Upon the table breads a lifeless, senseless mass. When taken in man's mouth, the soul it joins in class. On table, transubstantiation takes not place. The soul, it is, transforms it, nourished by God's grace. Such is the soul's great power, most perspicacious man. Sense is the soul's great power, most perspicacious man. So long as that soul life and power retain can. A human being, mass of mingled flesh and blood, moved by the Lord can cleave hill, dale, mine, and seas flood. The strength of strongest man can merely split a stone. The power that informs man's soul can cleave the moon. If man's heart but untie the mouth of mystery's sack, his soul soon soars aloft beyond the starry track. If heaven's mystery divulge should haps become, the whole world would burn up as fire doth wood consume. Let's contemplate the acts of God, the deeds of men. No men's deeds do exist. His truth is patent then. If men's deeds be not in this nether world of ours, say not thou unto others, why these deeds of yours? God's act is through which those deeds of ours arise. Our acts are but the sequels of God's agencies. The letter are the spirit, 'tis our reasoned ways. But both at once it cannot comprehend always. Examining the spirit, letter we neglect. At one time forwards, backwards, we cannot prospect. If thou straightforward look at any point of time, thou canst not backwards see, whatever be the climb. Our souls not taking in the letter spirit too, how could they e'er create these predicates, 1, 2? God comprehendeth all things doth ensue, when acts no hindrance with him, other acts to do. The reason Satan gave, since thou hast tempted me. The scheming demon strove to hide his sin, we see. His trespass Adam owned, against ourselves we've sinned. God's act he, like as we, then left not out of mind. Through shame, the act of Satan, Adam secret kept. Self-accusation's fruit and consequence he reaped. Repentance shown by Adam. God in mercy said, in thee 'twas I created, sin thou hast displayed. Was it not my decree and my providence that thou, in asking pardon, shouldst the temper disavow? Said Adam, thee I feared, most bitter shame I felt. God added, it was I who gave thee shameful heartfelt. consideration, he who shows considered is. So he who brings the sugar, share of cake is his. For whom then benefits are practicers of good? Keep please thy friend, offend him, see what ensue would. One sole example study, instance of this law, compulsion and elections, difference to draw. There is a hand that shakes from palsy or from fear. Another hand also thou shakest when thou art near. No, God it is creates the movement in them both, and yet there's no resemblance in their motions loath. Thou'rt sorry that thou shakest that man's hand anon, when thou seest him annoyed at what thou'st just now done. A question 'tis of judgment, judgment shrewdness is, until some weakness intervene to mar all this. A question now of judgment, as corals pearls, is not the same as one about the soul, you churls. A question of the soul's another matter quite. The wine that feeds the soul comes not from grapes, black white. When any matter is a question of judgment, Umar with Abu Jahl's in one predicament. Umar gave up his judgment, rested on his soul. Abu Jahl received this name through lack of self-control. In sense and reason, Abu Jahl a master was, but as to soul and ignorance, he fell, alas. Of sense and reason, questions are cause and effect, but miracles and wonders show soul is a fact. Enlightenment of soul, whatever it may see, by quibbles of school logic, cannot silenced be. We now return again our tale to take in hand, though certainty we've never left it out of mind. In ignorance, our souls are in God's prison chained. In wisdom, by God's help, their liberties were gained. In sleep, God's lethargy, it is in which we sink. Awake, we're in God's hands, whatever we may think. In weeping, we are clouds from which his mercy flows. In laughter, we're the flash with which his lightning glows. In anger, we're reflections of the wrath of God. In amity, the mirrors of his favors nod. What are we in this world, all tortuous and bent? There is not one upright, straightforward, innocent. Qasr's ambassador no sooner Umar heard, the light broke on his heart, at which he stroked his beard. All questions and all answers from his mind went quite. All sense of right and wrong had vanished from front his sight. He'd found the source. What need then of the streams? To gather further wisdom, pondering on the means. He said, Umar, pray tell me, what's the end and use of shutting up that thing of light and darkness' house? How can we clear water be expected from black mud? Why then is the pure and soul combined with flesh and blood? He answered, most important questions hast thou raised, a sense of spirit by the letter paraphrased. The free, the jocund spirit prisoner thou'st made, as though the mind, the air, could into a letter fade. Thou hast done this for explanation's sake. Thou who beyond explanation place would take. How should the man in whom explanation gleamed not yet distinguish what's to me so clearly beamed? 10,000 explanations are there, each of which is most momentous, then 10,000 others rich. With that thy speech, now compoundly particular. A universal explanation were no bar. Thou art a partial, seekest explanation still. Why set thyself then to deny the universal? Unless thy speech contains some use, propound it not, and if it have objection quite, give what thou Scott, thanks are incumbent upon every mortal's head. Contention and sour looks are surely no one's bread. If to put on sour looks of thankfulness, sign be, then vinegar, the sweetest spoken thing we'd see. If vinegar desire to hearts the way to find, it oxymel becomes, with honey sweet combined. True verse is not best vehicle for sense abstract. It's like a sling, one's never certain, help act. The ambassador, his senses lost, with this one cup of wine spiritual, his mission he gave up. Overwhelmed with wonder at the power of God, he fell. He came, ambassador, now sovereign, was as well. A river overflowed, constitutes a lake. Some grains, when sown in earth, a field of corn can make. Some grains, when sown in earth, a field of kernels can make. When eaten, bread assimilated is by man. That bread inanimate takes life and reason can. When wood or candle is made victim unto fire, its substance dark becomes a source of light entire. Black stibium, a stone, when placed in human eye, expands the power of vision objects can descry. Good luck to him who's saved from his own fleshly self and has become a parcel of some living elf. Alas for him who living sits among the dead. He is dead himself, his life from out of him has fled. If thou take refuge in the Quran, God's own book, the spirit of Muhammad, thou soon exchange look. Quran is the essence of all prophets' right. If they were the whales who swam in ocean of God's might. If thou canst read or not, the Quran take to heart. The saints and prophets study a word as thou art. Read thou it carefully. Read, mark, digest its tales. Thy soul, like bird in cage, will long to break its rails. The bird shut up in prison in a little cage that seeks not to get out is ignorant, not sage. The souls who freed themselves from cages of the flesh are worthy fellow travelers with prophets fresh. Their voices they lift up, religion to impart. The way of sure deliverance is here, take heart. Religion hath us saved from fleshly cages sure. No other way is there salvation to secure. You then upon yourselves will chastisements inflict, that you may be delivered from the world's respect. Respect of mortal man, a heavy fetter is. Within religion's path, the gravest bond is this. Consider well this tale, ingenious young friend. 'Twill teach thee many lessons, may thy morals mend. Got to liberate ourselves in this life. And we can survive that, because the lesser is just, okay, well, we struggle for a day or two or whatever, and then it's over with. No, the greater struggle is the lifelong. Because people think the greater struggle is the war, and that's not it. Surah 2, 22 and 66, 6 of all Quran say mankind and rocks. Another word coined to meet the requirements of the original ubiquity is the converse of ubiquity. Nulliquity might be used. Quran, Surah 2, 811, and 7 other places refer to Kassar is the Rory and Emperor. The Caesari room. Other Caesar, there's not, but the C is a, so Ka Sar is this name. To write this name Omar is incorrect, you know, because it's pronounced Umar and there's no, it's Uthman, not Ottoman, or, you know. Medina is the usual incorrect spelling of the name. Well, add an H to it to make it more likely to be pronounced right, but I think that's fine. The Arabian title is Khalifa, you know, the successor. Caliph is a corruption of the term. Commander of the believers. Amir al-Mu'mineen is his usual title. Rome is the lower empire. Muhammad's heart is believed to have been cleansed by an angel. There is a lot to talk about that sort of mystical experience, but this isn't really the place. God's countenance also means in Arabic, God's cause. God is this sun. The motes are all created objects. The friend is God, the Gnostic's darling. Rome in Asia means the lower empire, and Asia Minor are, for the last few centuries, the Ottoman Empire. Shadow of God on Earth is an Eastern title of royalty. These two propositions give the pith of the doctrine held and inculcated by the mystics and spiritualists of Islam. He is bridegroom, God is bride. The first book of the Mesnevi was written before the Bustan of Sadi. The myth of the dewdrop and pearl is much more ancient. The date of the poem will be recollected. Who disbelieved alchemy then? Here is a beautiful and true application of the idea of transubstantiation. The original mentions Farhad, a kind of Persian Daedalus, by his title of mountain excavator. See tale 7, distinct 365. Quran 54 verse 1, Quran Surah 7 verse 15 and 1539. At the fall, Satan accused God of tempting him, whereas Adam confessed his sin and did not accuse Satan. Al-Quran Surah 7, 822 and 24, 826 is referenced. Abu is often used as a contraction for Abu Jahl, father of ignorance, was a nickname. See tale 4. Dist. What does dist stand for? Because there's a period after that. 48, given by Muhammad to Amr, son of Hisham. Given by Muhammad to Amr, son of Hisham, a chief of Quraysh, his bitter enemy, formerly entitled Abul Hakam, father of the arbitrator. He was killed, a misassociator in the Battle of Badr in the second year of the Hijra, so about 624 of the Common Era. The word rendered by exclamation here means also information, and see, you know, use, advantage, profit, benefit, and so on.